Matthew, your fight against Gennady Golovkin, your memories of it?
Oh, not good. No, it was. I remember when the fight got made, and I thought, you know what, I need to try and. I'm not going to outbox this guy for 12 rounds. I just need to sort of try and Costa Sue Hatton, try and make it. He's gone through everyone pretty much, had his own way. He's very, very good, and he's dictated all the terms in there. No one's really managed to bring him into a dogfight. And I thought, I've been to the well a few times. That's probably one area where he hasn't been that I have. So I can, I need to use that to my advantage. And that's what my initial gut feeling was going in. I didn't go in with those tactics, but in hindsight, I wish I had. I wish I'd stuck with my gut feeling and gone with that. But Buddy was like, move to your right, try and box him. This, different tactics we talked about, and he said, and I suggested I think I should just, jump on him straight away and throw my eggs in one basket and just accept this isn't going 12 rounds and just throw everything to 6 rounds and see what, and hope for the best, because I don't think I'm going to outbox him for 12 rounds. But he was like, well, look, you can revert to that. He said, look, let's start off boxing, and if it doesn't work, then go with what you want to do. But I think the problem was, after 2 rounds, his tail was up, mine was between my legs. I was cut. I'd been, I'd been, my nose was bleeding. I was on the back foot. I was under the cosh, and I tried to turn it around in the 3rd round then, but like I say, I was already breathing heavy at that stage. He was exerting a lot of pressure, and I was doing the 100 meters going backwards. You know what I mean? I wasn't. If anything, looking back, it invited more pressure. I think I should have. If you're a super slick fighter that could, outmaneuver him and outbox him, great. But that wasn't my style. So it was the wrong tactics. Really, looking back, I should have. From the first bell, we're even keel. That's when I should have just gone for it. If it goes 3 rounds, 4 rounds, whatever it may be. But that would have been the only chance, I feel, looking back, that I would have had of beating him. And if I didn't beat him, at least I'd have got out there knowing that I dragged him into the, he'd been in, I'd left my mark on him, so to speak, where, kind of like trying to outbox him, being under the cosh, not working, then trying to turn it around the 3rd, then obviously I got caught with that good body shot.
What was there in the 3 rounds it lasted? What surprised you the most about him?
On a couple of the clinches, I hit him on the clinch. I hit him low. I rubbed my head in a few times, but I wasn't able to ruffle his feathers. He just stayed composed. He didn't get dirty himself, but he didn't retaliate. He didn't lose his temper or kind of. I couldn't knock him out of his stride. He just stayed composed. He didn't let any of that bother him. And he just kept me under manners and in my place on the jab. He had a very really good timing, well-timed jab, very accurate, and it was look, it's a jab. It's not a big right hook. We're not going to knock you out, but it was solid. I remember thinking, yeah, that's okay. I can live with that, but I can't eat these all night long, because I'm just going to be banged up. And so yeah, you're under pressure. You're under pressure. He's always, like I say, he was always just out of range that you couldn't hit him, but he was only one quick step and he was in range and he was on you. So. He was exerting a lot of pressure just by his presence.
Did you see any weaknesses at all?
You could hit him. You know what I mean? He didn't have the best head movement, but he had his hands fairly high and he had good feet, really good feet. But he was hittable. He was hittable, but he seems. I never caught him with anything big to the head anyway. But having watched several of his fights, he does seem to have a fairly sturdy chin. Curtis Stevens, a big puncher. He caught him a couple of times fairly clean, took them well. There's been nothing to suggest that he doesn't have a solid chin. I don't think he's ever been down. Never seen him really hurt. His footwork was really good. His timing was very good. His patience was very good. His composure. Like I said, I couldn't fluster him. I couldn't kind of ruffle his feathers. Even when I was trying to be a little bit dirty or hitting him on the brakes and things, he didn't lose his head or temper or lose his focus, or he just stuck to his tactics.
You're saying that about his defence. Willie Monroe hit him. He allowed Willie Monroe just to hit him, didn't he? I know Willie Monroe's not a puncher. He's still got those small gloves on.
Well, look, when you first turn pro and you're excited to get the knockouts, and sometimes you're boxing a journeyman and you're unloading, and they just shut up shop. Where sometimes you know, to get the clean shot, you've got to allow them to open up. You know what I mean? If you're just kind of throwing the kitchen sink at them, they're just going to shut up shop, and you're not going to get the clean openings. Where, you know, Golovkin's kind of got that power and that patience where he's kind of in range and he gives you a little feint and he tries to draw your counter, and then when you go to counter the punch that didn't get thrown, it was just a little feint, he then counters your counter. So then rather than hitting arms and gloves, he's got a chance of nailing you clean, you know, catching you on the chin or, you know, in the body.
How good is the fight between Golovkin and Canelo?
I think, listen, it's a fight that everyone's kind of divided on. I think a lot of people, it's kind of swung a little bit. I think everyone initially thought that Golovkin was a big favourite. I think particularly because it seemed that Canelo didn't want the fight and Golovkin did. Now I think people have changed their minds a lot. A lot of people have changed their opinions. I think Canelo's form coming in has been a lot better than Golovkin's form coming in, and I think people are thinking Golovkin's 35, he's been very busy the last 5 years. You know, it's not just the fights, but also the training camps. Whatever way you look at it, Father Time catches us all, it's miles on the clock. Maybe he's not quite as hungry as he was, he's achieved a lot in the sport, he's earned a lot of money. You know, Canelo's the younger man. A lot of fights too, but you know, he's still got youth on his side as opposed to Golovkin. So, and he's looked good coming in, albeit I don't think, you know, the Chavez fight, he looked $1 million, but it was like an exhibition, wasn't it? You know, so, I mean, it's a great fight. It's a great fight. I mean, we'll give opinions after, but I think it's an intriguing matchup. I think the timing of it makes it even more intriguing because maybe Golovkin is on the slide a little bit. So I can't remember looking forward to a fight like this in probably 10 years.
Is Canelo at an advantage having had an easy fight last time out? We had the virtual spar against Chavez Jr., whereas Golovkin's coming off a life or death fight.
It's hard to know, isn't it? I mean, there's a few ways you can look at it. Obviously, yeah, Canelo's confidence will be sky high. He's relatively fresh coming off the back of that. He didn't take any stick. It was a chance for him to showcase all his skills, to work on things. You know, it was like a glorified bag session in many ways. You know, he looked, you know what I mean? He got every shot in the book off. He had nothing really coming back at him. Chavez was slow. He looked like he was there to survive. You know, like I say, yeah, no miles on the clock. Confidence will be sky high. Most importantly, I think it gave him a chance to grow into 160 pounds. You know, having moved up from 154, even though he's moved up because he had to move up because he's a massive 154 pounder, he still wouldn't be used to getting hit by bigger guys. Now, Chavez didn't put much of a fight up against him, but he was still in there with a bigger man. You know, and I think the fight was 164 and a half. So I think from that point of view, it's given Canelo a chance to adjust to the different weight classes. He's been in with a bigger guy. But I don't know. I think it's. I got a feeling Golovkin's going to pull out a really big performance.
How does Golovkin win and pull out the big performance?
You know, I just think, you know, this fight's been talked about for 3 years. You know, it's 2 years ago when Oscar De La Hoya was after the Cotto Canelo fight saying, you know, this is it, answer your phone, and it was like people like, oh, fine, it's going to happen, and that was 2 years ago. You know, so I think from Golovkin's point of view, he's almost been, you know, he's waiting for this Canelo fight to come about, and then it's like, yeah, it's happening, we're doing it, it's going to be paid for you. No, I know you're fighting Danny Jacobs, or you're fighting such and such one. And Danny Jacobs is a great fighter. So it's like, the fight with Danny Jacobs is like an afterthought. You've been building up to this super fight with Canelo, which, let's face it, this is going to be the fight that Golovkin is remembered for. He's not going to be remembered for stopping Willie Monroe or anyone, or any of those fights. The fight he's going to be remembered for. This is a career-defining fight. This is his signature fight. You know, I just think this is the fight he's been waiting for, and I just think even though his form wasn't great, it wasn't at his best, let's say against Danny Jacobs or Kell Brook, I think we're gonna see a different Golovkin. I think he is 35. He might not have loads of great performances left in him, but he might have one more in him, and I think he's got one more big performance left in him.
Let me tell you a little something about boxing. The greatest moments have always been when the best fight the best. Pay attention. History is about to repeat itself. to buy Canelo versus Golovkin at $16.95. Press box office on your Sky remote or visit BoxNation.com.